What's up, guys? So we got the motor installed. It's looking pretty good. We did have a couple mishaps. We did end up scratching that valve cover a little bit. A couple of the pulleys that were painted got a little scratched, but of course that's all stuff that we can touch up. For the most part, things are looking awesome. Super happy with how it's coming together so far. We've done all of this today. We started this morning at about 8 a.m. with nothing in this car. It's now about 5 o'clock, so I'd say we've done pretty good. We've had the motor in since about noon, though. Since then, I've pretty much just been working on some other things. But just figured I'd give you all a little update of what's going on. The hardest part is done. We got the motor in, the transmission's done. Pretty much all the heavy lifting, with the exception of the blower, is done. So now it's just reassembling everything and screwing everything back in. And if there's no hiccups, we should be hopefully running here in about a week or two. All depends on how fast I'm able to get everything together and if there's anything I have to end up ordering that I didn't foresee or anything like that. But we're looking really good. I am super happy with how the motor looks. The engine bay is pretty nasty, but I do plan on cleaning it up again. The other thing too is there's a lot of trim that's missing, and a lot of the stuff that you're seeing, these little marks where these little paint gashes and stuff, actually is covered by different things. So my plan is to hopefully just clean it really well, do some touch-up paint in a couple areas that are visible, and then throw some dressing on it, and I'm sure that it'll clean up real nice. So we got the drive shaft in, looking pretty good so far. There's our nice Stifler's trans mount. Everything is hooked up down here for the most part, with the exception of exhaust and the clutch cable. But other than that, that finishes pretty much down in this area. Up here on the top, there's a lot that needs to happen still. I still got to finish working on the pedals, which are an absolute nightmare. Got the wideband cables I got to run, boost line, I got to put the shifter on. But I actually have to cut the floorboard there. We're in the transmission tunnel, so that'll be happening here soon, but I won't be doing that until after the car gets back to the house. All right, so we're back home now. Gotten a couple things done since it's been back. The interior is all completely back together again, with the exception of that, which I'm gonna change at some point. Not a big fan of how it looks, but it gets the job done for right now. Shifter's all in, pedals are all in, seats are back in. Pretty much everything is all back together, and it's freaking fantastic. It's nice having a clutch in this car, having this nice Hurst shifter in here. I love it. Can't wait to row through the gears on this thing. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Also had to give the car a nice bath. It was real nasty after sitting for so long, but it's all nice and clean now. Ceramic coating looks great still. It's like a mirror. Here in the front, we've got a couple more things going on than we had before. Engine harness is loosely on. Right now we are dealing with the problem with this AC line, which is in the way. In fact, I was looking online at some pictures of how the AC hard lines are ran on this car, and this looks entirely wrong. I've never even seen this on any car before, and unfortunately it's a problem because there's a belt that has to run up here from the compressor up here to this idler, and this hard line is in the way. It's very minor though. It's about 1/4 of an inch or so, so we're gonna try and heat it up and see if we can't get it out of the way. Just dropped the alternator back off so it can get powder coated. I had to test fit it and make sure it works. The Saleen kit has a bigger bolt right here than on the stock mounts, so I had to bore out that hole a little bit. Wanted to get that done before it got powder coated. Got some new spark plugs to throw in here, and then after that we'll be ready to hook up the blower assembly and the fuel and the rest of the wiring harness. And then when my trans harness comes in on Monday, we should hopefully be able to start this thing up. And since I haven't showed off the blower, here it is. Here's just a Magnuson MP90. Obviously designed to work on the Saleen kit. It's got an adapter plate here for a custom elbow that Saleen designed, which I want to get rid of at some point. I want to actually put a Torque Tech one on the back can support a bigger throttle body like on the Cobras. It'll be way better. This is a big bottleneck for this right now, but for the time being, it'll work. Got the fuel rails hooked up as well. Injectors are all in place. Everything on this is pretty much ready to go with the exception of the elbow just not being installed yet.
Rest it for a second on the pool. Okay.
Hang on. Shit, a couple hose over here. So it is now the evening time. This is gonna be the last update for this video. We did end up getting the AC line kind of bent out of the way. One of my buddies just used his raw strength and gave it a little bend, and we put a nice little thick zip tie on there to kind of give it some extra security. Probably not the best fix, but we're just gonna send it anyways. Obviously got the blower mounted on, got the fuel rails on, coil packs are in with the spark plugs. Old spark plugs that came out of this motor were super clean, super good shape. They were Ford OEM plugs, so I'd imagine they were probably the originals. I've got one side of the intercooler line redone. I've got a little bit more left to do. Gonna hook up the driver's side, which then runs down to about right in this area. But after that, that will complete the whole intercooler system. Really all that's left is I have one coil pack, which has to go here, but this fuel rail is kind of being a pain in the butt. For whatever reason, it's really tight in that spot, so I'll have to take care of that. IAC will still have to go on. I have to deal with the PCV system here, decide what I'm doing with that. Also still have the trans harness, of course, which has got to go on. Alternator, which is not back yet. Coolant tank, which isn't back yet. And a few other things. But we're looking really, really good. We're looking like we're going to be on track for a startup, hopefully on Monday evening or Tuesday. So if all goes well, hopefully we'll have a video out soon of this thing actually running. But until then, make sure you guys stay tuned. Keep you updated on how it's going.